Hey, YouTube, it's Spoot, Fort Misery Gaming, and I'm here with a friend of mine who you may or may not know, Wokey.
I'm here and I'm ready for adventure. That's what I usually say. That's my
He
intro. Hello.
he's ready for adventure. So we decided to do kind of a little bit of a collab because there is a bizarre amount of Reddit memery going on, and we both feel very strongly about it because suicide vegetables are apparently on the menu, and neither one of us were really prepared for that.
No one was prepared for the incoming storm of vegetable.
So you will notice on the video, I do have the boom icon. I did yank that from Reddit. That is from, I believe his tag is AugerSSJ3. I could be very wrong on that. I do want to give proper credit where it is due, though. Give me like 2 seconds to look. I just don't like yanking art and not telling people where it's from because I feel pretty bad about that when it happens because I know a lot of artist dudes that get their shit stolen all the time, so I always feel kind of rough about it.
Yeah. Someone who grew up in art school. Grew up in an art school. What? Went to art school for college. It's something that you definitely constantly have to worry about.
Oh, I'm sure you can appreciate it then. It is it's
Yeah.
Auger SSJ3 off of the Reddit. He's a Xander main. Man, feels bad with Zanefried coming up like wild. So
It's a wild time.
quick touch up over. So we'll talk about Alero first. His name is Alero, isn't it?
I've been pronouncing it Valero, but so many Draglia names are hard to pronounce.
It is. I think it's Valerio. It's kind of like a Spanish-inspired name. So as a kit, you'll notice I haven't really leveled mine up that much. What do you think about him to start? He is the first water blade we have, so technically he's the best water blade we have.
In terms of what I think about him, I think it's crazy that they dropped this first, not only the first really water blade to talk about for Draglia, also the fact that they dropped him with the craziest mechanic in the world, which is that he has 3 stances and it changes depending on how much combo counter you have. So, and then depending on the situation, his entire moveset and animations change. It's an extreme. Is the weirdest unit to drop for a cooking festival event because he's so crazy detailed.
Yeah, especially because so each move changes depending on where you are in the rotation. They change depending on the order you do them with, and depending on how things go, they do different things. Like his appetizer stance does different things when he uses S1 as opposed to his entree stance, as opposed to his dessert stance. So like the guy literally has a kit that is like 3, 6, like 9 variants deep, which is kind of crazy.
It's so crazy that the person who is in charge of who does all the DPS checks for Dragalia, which is what a lot of people use to at least see how the DPS of a unit is going.
Mushi, right?
Yes, Mushi. Yeah. They're working on Valerio, and it's kind of a process because it's like, how do I actually figure out this unit? It's kind of tough.
Well, each one of his stances has a flowchart, so you have to look at like every single one of them because it's going to turn into like, where is my optimal DPS or where is my utility DPS?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very interesting. So I think water is in kind of a lackluster place right now, just because they don't have like we've got the high standards. You've got Lily, who has until recently been replaced. Hunter Cerise, who just recently came out and is already decimating fire challenges.
Yeah, for sure. That's the current one I use for High Brunhilde for sure. And double series, while not necessary, sure does bring her dead pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, the idea that you can force skip phases. So, like in other MMOs, that's a big deal. Is if you can damage skip a phase, it usually puts you ahead. In World of Warcraft, they actually put in mechanics that draw you back in, so you can't skip phases. And then people accidentally find out ways to do it, so it turns kind of wild. But people are just shotgunning Brunhilde now, especially on Expert and Master, with the introduction of our favorite death-seeking vegetable, the Pipples.
People.
The Pipple.
People.
He is Pipple.
Yeah, he was also not foreshadowed at all in the when I looked over the banner information
whatsoever
with him and
at all.
No, they just dropped a 4 that completely screwed up the entire idea of what a wand user could be.
and all honestly has almost power creeped Cerise herself with how weird his utility is. Like he's not doing quite the same damage, but his survivability, especially if you run him in a team of more than one or two of them, is ridiculously high.
Yeah, I did with my good members of the Trash Alliance. We did 4 people. 3 of us had never used people before at all. And through basically 19 minutes until the end, we had basically gotten the strats down and had our people game at maximum efficiency and was able to take down Extreme High Brunhilde pretty easily.
So the meme with him is you run Odd Sparrows, and I think some people are running. Is it Valiant Crown?
I want to say you have to run Chocolatiers. Let me check mine
Oh
real
yeah,
quick.
Chocolatiers is the other one that's really good. So generally with Odd Sparrows, what ends up happening is you get double buffs from defense ups. So the level 1 on his S1 gives a different kind of skill shift. So you add a defense buff for the entire team by 15% for 15 seconds. That's a lot to begin with. On phase 2, it adds 3% increase to the team's flame resistance to 3. And then at phase 3, it increases the entire team's energy level by 5, or by 1 stage. And then when an energy level reaches 5, they're all energized, and they get an auto buff on their attack or recovery skill, whichever one you pop next. And he just keeps doing it. Over.
Yeah.
Over.
And over again. He's definitely one of the ones where it's kind of. I went to sleep because I did my summons. I didn't do it on camera because I was like, well, let me try and see if I can get Valero. I'm gonna try to go for 1 PD break and not go crazy because I know Galabanner and 1.5 is coming pretty soon. Was able to get people in the first multi, and then I ended up getting like Zanfried, a dupe Zanfried. So I was like, whatever. I went to bed. 8 hours later, my co-founder Lerp was already telling me Cerise is dead, and now it's the people meta.
It's the people, man. It's absolutely insane. So you run Odd Sparrows because every time you double buff, it gives you a slight heal. So your entire team is passively healing each other the entire time if you're running the people meme, which is very weird. I don't think we've ever had a team-wide like team buff quite like that, especially not in that kind of rotation. But it's definitely interesting. But people are running. People are doing 4 Pipple on Master Brunhilde. They're clearing it like what 215, 230. Like it's pretty quick.
Yeah, it's really nuts. I'll also say it's specific to I think High Brunhilde that I think she ends up getting memed a lot in a lot of her runs because I want to say back when Fjorm was up and running, there was like a specific team comp where you could use 4 Fjorms and be able to beat them. So that's kind of what's helping out here is that the fight I think for High Brunhilde is easy enough that if a unit is stacked enough with its abilities, you can learn the fight pretty easily, and it's like actually able to be beaten by like some very interesting team comps.
Yeah, I think outside of HMS, I think Brunhilde is probably the second easiest one. The abilities are very simple. You get behind rocks, you move stuff around. Like it doesn't have any like really devastating auto hits. And as long as you're paying like a little bit of attention and the lag doesn't get too crazy, like you can dodge most of the hits that come out of it.
Yeah, as long as you have a good person who can bait and someone who can stop the tackle, she does the insta-death tackle. There's a very specific.
Yeah, that tackle's a little crazy.
Yeah, there's a way to cancel the tackle so that it never happens.
Don't you spin her?
I think something like that. I don't know because that role usually goes to the healer. Zhang, I believe is her name. And I play Cerise. All I'm doing is sitting still and hitting 4 strike every other turn.
Yeah,
so I know.
So we'll give a brief coverage to the newest Worm Prince. So we have Berry Best Friends, Breakfast at Valerio's, and the Queen of the Knif. I think, honestly, reading Breakfast at Valerio's, I think that's going to end up being a pretty strong limited print. So it's got Flurry Strength 13%, max of 20, HP 70 equals crit rate 5, max of 15, and Zest plus 100, which is an event ability only, so you don't really need to matter. But Flurry Strength has gotten, especially with the additions of Delphi's Monospiral with Luca, Gala Luca, Flurry Strength and Flurry Strength Worm Prints have gotten, I think, a little bit more of a spotlight on certain units like Ezolith and stuff like that.
Yeah, Flurry Strength is suddenly, like, combo counter has mattered a lot more lately. And so it ends up being that these kind of Worm Prints have kind of come back into what is basically flavor, which is always good to keep handy any kind of worm print you can get, because you never know when like all of a sudden they're suddenly meta relevant. Like I was very lucky that Odd Sparrows was not a limited 3 print, because I would have never have guessed that it would one day be used.
Oh, absolutely. Like, there's no way you would look at it at default and go, yeah, this is what we're doing today. Like, it just, no character at that point had ever really utilized it. And I think the big thing now is what you said is really important, because with the shadow creep we have going on with the shadow units getting monospiral, the blue units getting kind of changed. Zanefree's update was very, very strong. But then you have Nefaria, who came out of literal unusability and is now in the top 5 DPS purely on a monospiral.
Yeah, long have we Nefaria fans waited since they buffed all of Bows, and it was not enough to make her unterrible. It was such a long wait to make her actually viable and good, and they did a very good job of making her also like so in tune for the new Agito battle. Who I can't remember his name right now. I think it's like Cal something. Cayenne, there you go.
Or Cayenne, I guess.
Cayenne. So now that she's buffed, I'm now waiting for the Hawk buff, which it really feels like.
I hope to
which is
God
smart. I think is the smart thing they've realized. Sorry, say it again.
No, I said I hope to God they buff Hawk. He's the only natural 5-star I have in green.
Oh, yeah. For this month in Draglia, they have confirmed that he's getting buffed, along with another adventurer, which I'm gonna guess is Lin Yu, because it seems like they're gonna because Sofan is also getting his mana spiral, and I think it would just make sense to do 3 wind units. So
it seems like they've sort of been
Lin...
doing them in waves, because like this one was almost all shadow, with the exception of what, Nobunaga.
No, Nobunaga got like a weird skill buff. I don't know. I never saw where it got it. She didn't even get like a mana spiral.
Yeah.
She got just like a random buff to her skill, which she desperately needed because she had like good damage, but the problem was that it wasn't enough. So now she finally is like top of the DPS charts because of just like one skill change, which is I think giving her more damage.
Which is still crazy when you go from almost like tier 2 usability to top 10 on the DPS charts.
Yeah, it's crazy. The other person who got a buff besides Cleo and Nefaria was Zanfried, who I don't think we'll actually see much use of him until the Agito for water comes out, just because I feel like that's where they're focusing a lot of new unit buffs on, is the fact that they're more helpful in Agito than they are in High Dragon Trials. And I think that's the better way to go, because Agito battles are more fun than High Dragon Trial ones.
Oh, significantly. And the new one is, like, the Cayenne one is significantly more fun than Volk was. Like, this one, you don't have as many opportunities for, like, weird play with his animations where they don't have actual targeting. Like, Cayenne is a very basic fight, but if you don't pay attention, he will just one-shot you. Like, you will get murdered.
There's also, I think, a thing in Extreme where if you don't pay attention, he literally juggles you across the room as if you are a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 character and just kills you instantly.
Yeah, he absolutely gives you scoops. It's a little disgusting to watch it happen, because, you know, the rest of the team is just watching you get murdered.
Yeah, it's really good. It's real fun.
Yeah, when he turns into Minotaur Cayenne is probably one of my favorite upkeeps so far. I was hoping they were going to turn him into like a big deer, but like I get the Minotaur look, so I'm not super mad about it.
Yeah, it would be really funny if it was a giant deer, though. Giant angry deer.
Like that would have been great, because Volk was like what, a centaur or whatever the hell he was.
I thought he kind of looked like a salamander dragon.
Kinda, yeah. Like, he just looked weird.
He does look weird. All the Agito stuff looks weird. Like, weird in a really fun way.
Yeah, and I like that they're getting into sort of, like, the lore of Draglia a little more, especially with the Agito, because they're giving you, like, a lot of more looks into the mask itself and, like, the Alberius sort of bloodline and everything, which is really cool.
Yeah. I'm, in general, big fan of where Dragalia is currently heading. They seem to have at least figured out a better way to make fun endgame content, which is the main problem I'll always have with High Dragon Trials, is that learning them is not fun.
Well, I mean, and at the time, like, how did you even play them? Like, up until recently, some of them were almost undoable.
Yeah, that was the thing, is that I didn't do them back in the day. Like, if you remember... old style Dragalia, it was really a lot like, I'm just gonna wait it out because I have a feeling power creep will eventually make me able to play this, and I was right.
Yeah, that's what. So I've only been playing Dragalia for I guess about a month and a half now, so I didn't really suffer that. But my partner in crime on Fort Misery, Scuba, he tells me, yeah, the first year of the game was suffering, like life is pain, kind of playing it.
Yeah, it was up until the Fire Emblem Heroes collab came out, and it really like helped once they did the changes to summoning, where they changed it from 15 to 12, that also helped a whole bunch, and they removed all the worm prints from the banner.
Yeah,
Like there you could
the idea that you could summon Worm Prince is wild to me.
Yeah, it was. I think at the time I said summoning in Dragalia is worse than Fake Grand Order, the
Oh
worst game
God.
to actually summon on.
Yeah, I played FGO up until I want to say their first year anniversary, and I was like, I don't have the money or really the sanity to keep doing this.
I don't have the money, but I have the sanity, so I can stick with it.
Oh man, Fate is the it is the premier waifu simulator. If I'm gonna throw it out there as a trophy, like Fate is the one to go to if you're like, you know what, I want as many waifus as I can get my hands on.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And
so our second
oh,
worm print is Queen of the Knife. This one's a little different. So this one's Flurry Devastation. So your crit rate goes up as you get combo, and this one actually has critical damage on it. It starts at 5 and 8 and goes up to 15 and 25. So I don't know, for a 4-star print that seems really good. I don't know much about the history of 4-star prints versus 5-star prints, so you're a better opportunity on that one than I am.
yeah, you mainly go for the print. Like I feel like the best 4-star prints are the one that are like offer something that no other 5-1 does. Like what is like for example, Gala Ellie uses a 3-star in hers. It is Beach Battle, and it does buff time 20%, max 30%, and then water skill haste. That's usually like the best. There's never been like a case of just like, oh, you always pick a 5 over a 4. It's like, no, you always pick whatever worm prints are specific for the unit and what will help it grow more. So a lot of 4 prints end up being this like weird, like experimental almost of just like, yeah, what if we do this? And most of the time they debut and you're like, well, nothing really takes advantage of this. And then later down the road, something takes advantage of it, and you're like, well, there you go. This 4 print's suddenly useful.
Yeah, and it really does seem like it's a very good. It kind of bleeds back into what you said earlier, where like you don't know when a worm print or a hero is going to suddenly be the best thing since sliced bread. So like holding on to all of them, while hoarding kind of sucks, especially because I'm sure there are worm prints that have never gotten used. I mean, statistically, it's just it's reality, but it definitely seems like they are trying to bring things into less obscurity now, and I think that's kind of an important thing for updating games is to sort of buff your bottom end and to make things that you haven't used more usable because it kind of changes where the game goes naturally as opposed to being like everybody gets buffs, everybody's powerful, you know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
So that is pretty much it for the part one. We are unsure if we are getting a second part of the summon. It does say part one on the banner. We'll have to figure out if that goes anywhere. I actually
Yeah.
got Valerio and Pipple on my first multi, so I didn't have to go deep into the second one at all. Or I shouldn't have to, but people are. I think the rumor is the young woman that is in the Dash of Disaster that's his assistant, that she's going to be the second summon character.
Oh yeah. So they've in this month in Dragalia, they've confirmed that Mitsuba will be the 5 for it, and she'll have the same mechanic. It seems like for them, which is really funny to think about, that Dragalia, she has the exact same like setup as Valerio. So I guess all chef units going forward will have this style of mechanic.
I like the idea that there's going to be a chef meta because, like, I'm all on the Gordon Ramsay train of just yelling "Yes, chef" at all points in time.
Oh, this is only setting up for the eventual Chef Cleo. You know that they're holding her in the background somewhere to
Oh
release a Chef
no,
Cleo.
our new Chef Cleo overlord. This sounds terrible.
Another Cleo to screw up whatever elemental meta that she fits into.
What an absolute terrifying concept. You never think about it until you look at it, and then I see like the power creep on Galacleo. I'm like, yep, she's broken.
Yeah, but funny enough, thanks to the Shadow buffs, Galacleo is no longer the only unit Shadow has anymore,
Yeah,
which is
thank
very
God.
good.
And I think on the showcase itself, just because I think enough people have covered it, don't pull for this dragon.
I can't really speak because I pulled for this dragon, so it's
Like
not like
I like Fluffy Pancakes too, but like he's just a worse Arctos.
oh yeah, the Nimbus. So yeah, this is actually the kind of the thing is that thankfully Pipple is a 4, so he's actually very easy to get.
Yeah.
And Valerio will be like on Gala Banner, where it's higher rates for 5s in general. The kind of basic is the way that Lerp kind of does it, because the way that Lerp sees it is that all Gala banners are bait and all actual banners are the real thing.
Yeah.
Is that if you actually want your best chance of getting a specific 5, you will never have a better chance than that banner. I just feel like currently, if you want Valerio badly, you'll never have a better chance of getting Valerio than on this banner. So that's the kind of way it goes. I prefer to kind of like leave my luck to the gods and hope that one day he'll show up on Gala Banner, and that's just the way I'll see it.
Yeah, you're like, someday my prince will come.
Yes, exactly.
But so that is pretty much it for our little bit of collab. Me and Wokey have been trying to get something together for a while, and hopefully we get to work on some more stuff in the future as well. So we're looking forward to, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully with less animals and people working in the background as like everything sounds like it's exploding around me.
I mean,
my uncle's
I think
uncle's coming.
the
So it's
biggest
time to say
thing
goodbye
is,
for me. You finish this off, Stu. Good.
no, you're good. I just think it's crazy because like every time you listen to Wokey, he's like, I have a million things going on in my house. We're not doing this right now. But yeah, so that's Wokey. So we're gonna try to get together. At
Still
least, yeah, I know you're still here. I hear you. You can say stuff. It's fine. We're just chit chatting now. So as far as the content goes, we're looking at part 2. I guess possibly. So the special event ends on the 12th, and the next set of events in the story open up on like the 2nd or the 4th. So we'll probably see part 2 within a week-ish, maybe. He has exiled himself. Oh, okay, his internet cut out on him. All right, he just messaged me. So we're probably looking at part 2 within a week. The chef meta will become a thing. And we'll keep you updated on what's going on as far as, pretty much everything. So I'll leave links to Wokey's info in the video description in case you want to go check him out. I would highly recommend it. Wokey's a good dude. He's been helping me out since day one, so I would absolutely give him a check out. I'll put his Twitter and his YouTube info in there. Like, subscribe. If you want to see other stuff from Draglia, just give us a holler. If there's anything else you want to see, leave us a message. Other than that, get your pulls in. Don't get miserable.